Zambia's history in offering international protection and assisting refugees dates back to the 1940s, when the first wave of refugees arrived from Poland. Since then, the country has hosted refugees from several countries in the region, including Angola, Burundi, the Democratic Republic of Congo, Namibia, Mozambique, Rwanda, South Africa, Zimbabwe, and Somalia. Today, the country hosts over 84,000 persons of concern from Rwanda, Angola, Burundi, and the Democratic Republic of Congo in the 3 refugee settlements of Mayukwayukwa, Meheba, and the newly established Mantapala, and a few thousands who have self-settled in 5 provinces across the country.
For over 50 years, Zambia has offered protection and assistance to more than 300,000 refugees, mainly from Southern African and the Great Lakes region. Between 2003 and 2012, Zambia, with the support of the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees, UNHCR, and the International Organization for Migration, successfully facilitated the safe and dignified repatriation of more than 200,000 Angolan and Rwandese refugees to their respective countries.
In 2017, the government of the Republic of Zambia decided to implement a settlement approach to give refugees a variety of rights and access to services, and allowing to facilitate permanent residency and neutralization as an alternative legal status. And so, a new Refugee Act in line with the 7th National Development Plan was put in place. Under the leadership of the Commissioner for Refugees in the Ministry of Home Affairs, the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees and partners began to assist government to implement the new approach, the Comprehensive Refugee Response, which ensures that the services are shared between refugees and hosts in all the 3 refugee settlements of Meheba, Mayukwayukwa, and Mantapala.
A comprehensive response now to us looks at how the whole of society can respond to that situation. And at this point, we are very proud that we have gone further in trying to implement the comprehensive response. Matampala is a very good example of a comprehensive response, where at a time when the refugees arrived, we decided that where the settlement is going to be settled, to be established, the villagers would not be displaced, because in most cases you would find that the refugees live on their own in a certain area and receive their own services apart and away from the local community. But this time, in the spirit of the CRRF, it's apparent that when you put the people together, they can benefit from the services that are provided together. These would be services that are provided by government, and indeed government has been providing services in the refugee settlements from the time that refugees arrive, and in protracted cases over a long period of time. When you look at Mayukwayukwa and the Meheba refugee settlements, this has been the responsibility of government for over 50 years now. In Matampala, you have the participation of the partners, particularly the UNHCR, that come in as part of its mandate, the international mandate, to assist governments in responding to refugee problems. And there are other partners that have come in Luapula and are present and working within the refugee settlements. So that will show you that government alone may not be able to respond, but that in the spirit of the CRRF, there's need that other sections of society, when you look at NGOs, both local and international, then you also would be including individuals, private sector, and the church.
Fully fledged clinics are built and handed over to government to provide health services, including maternal and child health services, to both refugees and their hosts in all the 3 settlements.
The services that we offer at the clinic, actually, we are doing a 24-hour service. So we have maternity wing, MCH, we have male ward, female ward, and children's ward. This clinic doesn't just cater for Zone G. We have patients coming as far as Zone A, Zone B, and Zone D, and the H. They all come to this clinic.
Access to primary education for refugees is universal and is included as a basic human right in the new Refugee Act, in line with the Global Conventions on Refugees. The Zambian government, supported by various partners, has established primary and secondary schools in refugee settlements, which are in line with the Global Compact on Refugees and the Comprehensive Refugee Framework, CRRF. These schools are providing education to refugee children and those from host communities.
Refugee education is one of the highest priorities of the Government of Zambia and UNHCR. This because education is one of the most important avenues for refugees to regain their sense of purpose and dignity after the trauma of displacements. Education is also the easiest path refugees can use to enter labor markets and become economically self-reliant. However, due to limited funds, the Zambian government and UNHCR are not able to provide all the needed support to refugees to advance their education, especially post-secondary. Currently, we have a combination of over 1,000 school leavers from the existing refugee camps who are in need of tertiary education that have not been able to due to lack of resources. In 2019, with the support of DAFI program, a total of 59 students were provided with scholarship to pursue tertiary education. However, this number is too low compared to the total number of refugees needing post-secondary education.
However, access to secondary and tertiary education is hampered by the legal framework, the Immigration Act, which universally requires all foreign nationals, including refugees, wanting to pursue secondary and tertiary education in Zambia, except those in settlements, to obtain study permits. The lack of tertiary institutions and skills development centers in the settlements and the lack of sponsorship opportunities has led to hundreds of refugees and former refugees being unable to pursue tertiary education or obtain life skills despite graduating with good grades from secondary school.
We have a very high passing rate in Meheba, and the number of pupils are able to complete school yearly. Unfortunately, the worst part is we do not have a tertiary institution within the settlement. This, I think, affects a number of students, would be potential students for universities across the country, because first of all, it's very expensive, to go to university for them. They are unable to fend for themselves, to cater for the school fees. Also because of the normal daily livelihood, they don't earn that much. We do have a program called DAFI, which is actually run under Caritas Czech Republic, where excellent performing students are supported and given scholarships. A number of them have benefited from the past, but I would just like to mention that as it is now, it's not enough.
Those who manage to obtain scholarships and complete tertiary education are further required to obtain a work permit for them to get into gainful employment, thus limiting their prospects of helping improve livelihoods, reduce poverty and inequality among the refugees.
Although UNHCR has been able to provide education with the support of government in current refugee settlements, a number of challenges remain, which, if addressed, can accelerate the integration of refugees in education. These challenges include inadequate infrastructure, which leads to overcrowding in classrooms, inadequate human resources, especially teachers, which leads to high pupil-teacher ratio and negatively affecting quality of learning, lack of adequate teaching equipment and facilities such as textbook and computers. The combination of the above leads to poor education outcomes, which manifest in high failure rates among the refugee students. Other challenges include that neither Matampala A nor B are examination centers. The pupils, therefore, have to be transported to other examination centers to sit the exam. Furthermore, refugees are required to obtain and pay for student study permits starting from secondary education and upwards, which act as a barrier to integration. Obviously, in terms of partnership, as UNHCR, we call upon various stakeholders, such as the UN sister agencies, international and national NGOs, corporate organizations, and the private sector, to come on board and support us in sponsoring refugee students to ensure they are empowered to live on their own.
Stephen Kapalu is one of the over 600 persons of concern in Meheba refugee settlement who has scored good grades at secondary school level but cannot proceed to college or university because of limited scholarship opportunities and the legal requirement to obtain study permits for refugees and other persons of concern to pursue tertiary education.
I'm a former Angolan refugee. Yeah, I was born here in Meheba. Yes, that was 22 years ago. And then I did my grade 1 to grade 6 at Meheba D. Yes, from there I got a scholarship at Pestalozzi. That's why I did from grade 6 to grade 12. And I completed in 2017. But then since then I've been trying to apply for scholarships. You find I'll only be given just part of it. Like I tried at Rockview, I was given 75%. And then I failed to make up for the 25%. I didn't make it. And then I also applied at Lusaka Urban University. I was given 50%. I failed to raise again the other 50%. But then since then, I've not been to any college or university. So my appeal is that if there's somebody who is able to sponsor me or help me, and then they take me to college or university, I want to do banking and finance.
There are many other refugees who are in a similar situation and are looking for opportunities to study in higher institutions of learning.
I managed to get 6 points. It was quite a hassle. Yes. And then my appeal concerning my education, I personally want to do neurosurgery. I want to be a neurosurgeon like Dr. Brent Kirsten.
In my future, I want to be a teacher, but there's no support in our family. So I'm just doing nothing at home.
The 720 square kilometers which Meheba refugee settlement occupies is in Chief Mumena's chiefdom in Kalumbila district. The traditional leader is equally concerned with the limited access to tertiary education and skills development opportunities for refugees and local people in his area.
Meheba is a growing community, and the pupils, their pass rate is good, and many of them are growing. We need the tertiary institutions. We need the training colleges. We need a university right there. Many of them, as much as they've been able to pass, they are unable to get to university because of the sponsorship matters. We need a special fund. I would recommend a special fund for the former refugee community so that they can be able to sponsor their kids and take them to school. the funds that can be introduced there is going to help the people make a little bit more money. They'll be able to send their children to school. They'll be able to grow bigger fields. They'll be able, that is a production zone that can be able to feed the whole of Northwestern and beyond Northwestern.
In September 2016, a day after the New York Declaration for Refugees and Migrants, which among other things contains the Global Compact on Refugees and a Comprehensive Refugee Response Framework, was adopted, the Government of the Republic of Zambia made several landmark commitments at the United Nations Leaders Summit on Refugees towards improving the lives of refugees living in Zambia. One of the pledges was to support the education and livelihoods of the refugees.
At the beginning of this journey, I participated at the United Nations General Assembly and the Leaders Summit on Refugees held in New York in September 2016. During these two meetings, a path was cleared towards achieving greater responsibility sharing on refugee matters. Zambia believes in the principles set out in the Compact, emphasizing the value of more predictable and equitable responsibility sharing, recognizing that a sustainable solution to refugee situations cannot be achieved without international cooperation. In line with this humanitarian blueprint, governments, international organizations, and other stakeholders have been called upon to ensure that host communities can get the support they need to enable refugees rebuild and lead productive lives. Most importantly, the Compact aims at ensuring that refugees and host communities live in harmony and in support of each other in developing their skills, becoming self-reliant, and contributing to local economies.
In the same spirit of the Comprehensive Refugee Response Framework, refugees and hosts share clean and safe water from the boreholes constructed by humanitarian partners in the settlements. In the resettlement area in Meheba, the host families are sharing their farmlands with refugees, while the government and humanitarian partners provide adequate farming inputs to vulnerable refugees and their hosts. In all the three refugee settlements, refugees and hosts trade together in the newly constructed markets and are sharing entrepreneurial tips. Within the context of the Comprehensive Refugee Response Framework, CRRF, the Government of the Republic of Zambia, in partnership with other stakeholders, development and humanitarian actors, have prioritized education and livelihood. This prioritization is grounded on the role that education and livelihood activities can play in assuring self-reliance of the refugees. However, the legal and structural barriers need to be addressed to ensure that these activities, which currently remain underdeveloped in all the three refugee settlements, contribute meaningfully to the attainment of self-reliance and sustainability for the refugees, thus reducing the burden on government.
One has to understand that we thank this country, truly. Being a third world country, we mean third world country. I do not tend to try to belittle this country, no. Even my country, the Congo, is a third world country, despite the fact that it has got many minerals. But it is a third world country, it's a poor country. And then being poor and you stretch out your hand to help other poor people, how you have to have a very big heart, like the heart of the Zambian people. We can applaud them for this. And we are telling them to continue doing that. It's only God who knows. It's no wonder why this country is a Christian nation. You have to continue. You cannot only help others when you have money. No. It's the heart that helps, not the money that is helping. And that heart of the Zambian people, okay, I say once again thank you to them. And to the government of Zambia, more particularly His Excellency Edgar Chagwa Lungu, the president of this country. And we say thank you to him. And we'd like maybe to try to call up all the international community to come to the aid of Zambia, because being poor, hosting refugees, it's another burden. And the government is struggling to feed its own people. And there's another chunk, a greater chunk of other people on top of it. And then resources are not there. We call up all the international community to come to the aid of Zambia, to help Zambia manage the refugee situation by giving Zambia money. We need money. It's not money to fill up our pockets, but money to use, both for the Zambian community, the host community, and the refugees. This is the essence of the CRRF.
Some humanitarian and development partners, like Caritas Czech Republic, are running livelihood programs for refugees, former refugees, and the hosts by providing skills and capital. The Comprehensive Refugee Response Framework, CRRF, serves as an approach to implement the pledges and other commitments the country has made at the United Nations General Assembly and aims at finding durable solutions to refugees and support host communities by combining humanitarian aid and development.
I wish to express gratitude to the Government of the Republic of Zambia for being one of the countries that have adopted the Global Compact on Refugees as a way of delivering protection, humanitarian and development assistance to refugees and other persons of concern, as well as the host communities. This adoption is a clear demonstration of political will and leadership to provide better support to the refugees and other persons of concern. The United Nations in Zambia is further pleased that the Government of the Republic of Zambia reaffirmed its commitment to the Global Compact on Refugees at the Global Refugee Forum, which convened in Geneva, Switzerland in December last year, 2019, by making 7 pledges aimed at promoting refugee inclusion in national systems. I must state that the comprehensive response approach was particularly demonstrated in the setting up of the Mantapala refugee settlement. Several humanitarian and development actors, including various UN agencies, cooperating partners, NGOs, INGOs, and other actors, rallied behind the Zambian government to turn what used to be a forest with bare land and few villages to a vibrant settlement with health centers, schools, water points, and many other facilities. These facilities have not only provided services to refugees, but have tremendously improved the well-being of the host communities as well. The establishment of the Mantapala settlement is a clear manifestation of the transformation that different actors can bring if and when they work together for a common purpose. I take this opportunity to thank all those that played a role and supported the establishment of Mantapala. While their countries, agencies, and organizations have affirmed the Global Compact on Refugees, we count on our cooperating partners in Zambia to support further by including refugees in their development portfolio in line with the Global Compact on Refugees and the Comprehensive Refugee Response Framework.
The government and the United Nations Refugee Agency will continue to work together to ensure the refugee, humanitarian, and development needs are addressed in a comprehensive manner, leveraging the expertise and resources of all partners and involving society as a whole to alleviate the burden of the host country. A timely appeal is therefore made to all development and humanitarian actors to join the cause by ensuring that their programming includes and caters for refugees and the host communities.